How's everybody doing? My goodness, I could not figure out what was going on. Streaming software. Bear with me. With everything going crazy like that, I gotta get a little bit set up on my back end. So stick around, hang on. I'll be here in just a minute. We're finally good. This is the one. This is the one I was trying to get going the entire time. And I finally did it. Yeah, we good. We good? All right, 1 second. Dormant. Guys, it was just a total trick where we're just going to play club music all night. I appreciate you stopping by. You're live for Club Grass Factor. B-Rat, I saw your comment there. Yeah, guys, we're on our way out with the music. I mean, we're on our way out with the grass, but what we are coming in with is the music, so stick around. We got this new top 40 hit from Upper Crust by Isaac Joe. I'm just kidding. How's everybody doing? Welcome aboard the Soul Train for the next hour or so. I don't know. We'll see how long it ends up taking. I'm going to be your host. My name is Matt, the Grass Factor. And hope everybody had a fantastic week, fantastic weekend, and you got to do lots of those things that you probably didn't intend on doing, but you ended up getting done anyway. I don't know what kind of words of encouragement that was, but that is my word of encouragement for the evening. That being said, welcome aboard. This is the Lawn Care Help Desk, and the way this is kind of structured, set up to run one way or another is you ask questions, I provide answers, otherwise known as what I call the open format. So, without any further, let's go ahead and get going on DJ Grass Factor. Just kidding. Let's go ahead and get going. So a couple caveats here, a couple of precursors, if you will, is number one, I am human, I am fallible, I make mistakes. Please double, triple check everything I say here, because sometimes I may be thinking about cool season grass and make a recommendation for warm season grass. If you spray that warm season herbicide on a cool season grass, it might end up causing some significant problems. And unfortunately, that just has to do with me being, well, you know, a human. Human. That's a weird word, isn't it? What's up, Ben Brinkman? How are you, good sir? So yeah, I mean that's kind of the way this works, and and by all means, feel free to go ahead and throw your questions into the chat, and I'll kind of go ahead and get started with a fun one here. And that is a liquid calcium lime. I'm looking for a liquid calcium lime. And let me tell you why that is not a good... hello, Matthew. Hello, Ryan. Hello, Ryan. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. So I would never recommend a liquid lime unless you're not really trying to do anything regarding maintenance of soil pH. And let me explain to you why. Because when you have acidic soil, right, you have a certain amount of free hydrogen in your soil. And when you apply lime, you're applying enough lime to build a bank in the soil of carbonates that will react with that excessive hydrogen in the soil. So if you only apply a little bit of carbonates, we know you have acidic soil, so therefore you have excess hydrogen. Then therefore you're not applying enough carbonates to counteract the amount of hydrogen you have in the soil. When you perform a soil test and it gives you a general recommendation to say like, I don't know, 50 pounds per thousand or 2,000 pounds per acre. They came up with that number based off the acidity of your soil and the buffer capacity of your soil. And so they make a generalized recommendation in to apply enough carbonates to balance out, to provide a long-lasting buffer against the hydrogen you have in your soil. So my point is that when you're applying it in a liquid form, you have to understand that when you're applying liquids, typically the way liquids are, they are in liquid form, but at one point it was a solid that has been dissolved into a liquid. And depending on the solubility of the product you're putting into solution, are you following me here? I'm using some words, and you just hang on in here. The solids you're putting into solution is only going to be able to go into solution at a certain rate. As a general rule of thumb, this isn't always the case. Urea can go up to 7 pounds per gallon. If it's a calcium product, maybe the high end that you're going to see is like 3 pounds per gallon. So when you're applying that, you would have to be applying a gallon per 1,000 square feet. Say you need to apply 50 pounds per 1,000 square feet according to your soil test. And that label is going to tell you, oh, you only need to apply 3 ounces, 6 ounces, 9 ounces because it's liquid and it's fast. Okay. But you still have an excess of hydrogen in the soil. So by applying just a little bit, and it may be fast, temporarily, it may move the needle up on your pH scale, but it's going to go right back down because you don't have enough buffering material in the soil that you applied. You applied simply too little. Yes, it did what it was supposed to do according to the label, but it was up and down. Scam alert, scam alert. So my point is that don't fall victim to something like that. What I would do is look at the liming equivalent that they should list on the label for a liquid lime, and then draw your own product rate that you need to apply. Right? Oh boy. Okay, that was weird. Now I'm seeing some weird things on my screen, but it's good now. It's good. So, just stay away from a liquid lime. You cannot get down enough material. You would have to be applying, say you needed to apply 50 pounds per 1,000 square feet, then you may need to apply 18 gallons per 1,000 square feet. How are you going to do that? How are you going to apply 18 gallons per 1,000 square feet and make any money? It's not possible. How are you going to do that and afford to be able to do that? Even if you're getting it cheap, it's still going to be incredibly expensive. CaCO3 has a solubility of 0.013. And now, normally, they're not in liquid limes. Yeah, you'll see some calcium carbonates. Let me see. Liquid lime. There is one I've seen that is a calcium carbonate. What is this? CalFlow liquid lime. Let me look at this. So we've got some magnesium, we got some calcium carbonate, we got a little bit of magnesium carbonate, but it has a calcium carbonate equivalent of 64.71%, meaning it is only about 64% as powerful as granular calcium carbonate. It's only about half as good as granular calcium carbonate. Now, okay, so actually, this isn't even in solution. This is just a suspension here because it weighs 14.8 pounds per gallon. And let's see, it has an effective neutralizing value of about, again, 64%. So it's not as powerful as granular lime, and I don't know what the rate is on this, but I would say it's going to be at a rate that isn't going to be very long lasting. Ah, yes, 2 to 3 gallons per acre. That is magic and math and numbers that do not add up. Scam alert! Scam alert! Scam alert! Scam alert! Yes. All right. So anyway, yeah, I would, unfortunately, I would just stay away from that. Let's see here. Do you recommend, did I skip one? I don't think so. Okay. Do you recommend granular or liquid pre-emergent on cool season grass in the early months, maybe April? You know, TG Lawn Maintenance, I did a video about this a long time ago because I have a mental problem, a mental block with granular pre-emergent. Personally, I don't like it. Now, scientifically and factually, is it as effective as liquid pre-emergent? Yes. I've never said anything that shows a statistically significant difference that would point to you not using a granular pre-emergent. As a matter of preference and just psychosomatic weirdness that I have going on in my brain, I would recommend liquid, but for no other reason other than that's my own weirdness going on in my head. Now, in the early months, maybe April, to me, that sounds late. That sounds late to me unless you're up in like northern Wisconsin, northern Michigan, Minnesota, or somewhere up there out, something like that. Yeah. In my opinion, I think that's too late. Normally, now, if for a second application, something like that, yeah, you could do that in April. Like normally where I am in the transition zone, the first one I'm getting down January, maybe February timeframe. Then the second one, I'm getting down March into April timeframe. Usually by April 15th, I'm done. I'm moving on to round 3. I'm preparing for other things. What's up, Polo Fields? How are you, good sir? Look at this. What gets wild violets, creeping Charlie out of warm season grass again? Metsulfuron methyl will do exceptionally well. Combine that with a little 2,4-D, and you are in the money. Matt, I had to reset. What's up, Lambert? One of my favorite attorneys. How are you, good sir? I had to resod some areas in October due to Hurricane Sally damage. What about prodiamine on those areas in late January? As a general rule of thumb, Lambert, if you cannot pull it up on the corners, pull up your sod out of the ground, then I would not apply any pre-emergent. If you cannot pull it up, I would apply pre-emergent. If you can pull it up, I would not apply pre-emergent. That would be my general rule of thumb, and I would stick to that. Hey, man, I know it's not true, but as you might notice in the last week, we should release like 642 new products. Any thoughts on the differences between Depth MFT, Depth Slam, and Depth Glue? Yeah, so actually, I've been helping them with this. I'm gleefully unemployed right now, so whatever that means, I have been trying to find side projects to work on, and one of them is particularly working on this. And so actually I'm very familiar with this because I actually designed the products myself. And what I can tell you is the difference between Depth MFT, Depth Slam, and Depth Glue are pretty significant, right? MFT is going to be mainly just a peptide product and micronutrients, very concentrated peptides and micronutrients. Depth Slam is going to be a very concentrated peptide product and fulvic acid. It does not contain any micronutrients. It is peptides and fulvic acid. And then Depth Glue contains no biostimulants whatsoever. It is just purely a glucoheptanate chelated micronutrient package. So it would be just just a real simple put. In fact, I got it pulled up on this monitor over here because I was working on it earlier today. A little manganese, a little magnesium, boron, a lot of iron, actually a lot of iron and a lot of manganese, and a little bit of zinc. But just a glucoheptanate, chelated glucoheptanate, meaning that it's going to perform well up to a soil pH of 9, right? Where like EDTA may be good only up to a 7. So glucoheptanate would be a way to still be foliarly effective and root absorbed all the way up to a pH of 9. So yeah, that's kind of the thing. And I feel like the easiest way to do it is to go to the shop and then look at the product categories over on the left. And it breaks out everything based on what exactly it is. So I think, and if that doesn't make sense, actually let me know, Timmy Bluegrass, and I'll try and do a better job of organizing that. Gray Fox, I cannot comment on that right now publicly, maybe privately. Subvert has some sweet new products. What do you think of the Cenos or Silica product as tools for turf-type tall fescue in South Carolina? It definitely could be a good tool, for, especially for you in tall fescue in South Carolina, especially that calcium nitrate. I think would be a good one. Silica may be good if you're undergoing one of those real intense, hardcore, heavy, upright growing springs where you just have perfect temperature and perfect rainfall and everything that grows just kind of lays over and you want it to stand back up. Then you could go with the Silica product like that. The Silica product, the way that's manufactures it is a very high foliar efficiency. It's not a potassium silica. That is just a silica dioxide that's in solution. It's it's more of a suspension. It's more of a suspension. It's really interesting when you look at it. It's clear, but it has like this off, I don't know, it has a shininess to it as a liquid. It's pretty neat though. It's kind of interesting. But yes, it could be. Now, if you're, trying to fertilize your tall fescue and you're dealing with low pH soils, then calcium nitrate would be a good one for you in that type of scenario. So I could see where that would work actually well for you, David. Ever had any luck with dormant seeding? All right, I've kind of got this into a. I'm not going to get squirrely here. I know how I'm going to answer this. If you're okay with the risk, because it's a risk, there's a certain amount of unknowns. Have I had any luck with it? Yeah, kind of haphazardly, and it's real sporadic, right? So in some instances, yes, it's going to do just fine. In other instances, and it could be next door, and it does okay. So if you're okay risking the seed, then it's totally fine. If you're not okay risking the seed, then just wait till spring. It's colder than you think here, Matt. April's not necessarily early. I don't know, Ryan. I refuse to believe it. Wow, was I up there in December? Or was that? No, it was January, wasn't it? When it was 6 degrees outside or something like that. 9, I think it was 9 degrees outside. Ryan, by the way, I think I saw the title of the video you put up today, and I think it's one of those artsy videos, and my heart started skipping a beat. I haven't had a chance to watch it, but I'm going to tonight. And I'm really excited. It's a Ryan Nor winter lawn care video. All right. Let's see here. Sorry, meant death. SAMP. So SAMP is going to be different because it is. It contains kind of a 2 biostimulant deal there. It contains salicylic acid, right? So you can hop on the internet and type in salicylic acid and turf grass, and you're going to see lots of studies out there about how those two kind of coincide. Yes, salicylic acid is also the one you see in acne medication. In plants, it elicits a SAR, a systemic acquired response in plants, meaning it kicks in the plant's natural defenses to help ward off and fight things like disease and stress, abiotic stresses, and that fun stuff. The difference is that it's also mixed with a micronutrient package as well. And it also contains glutamic acid, which is also an amino acid. So it's a kind of a combination of micronutrients and 2 different biostimulants that you don't see from any of the other Subvert products. Or really, I don't know too many other people that put it on in the market anywhere. I'm drinking a Nestle Splash Lemon. I may not have autofocus on. Nestle Splash Lemon. Nope, autofocus is not going to work. Do you hear that? Can goose grass emerge this time of year? I've had it in my backyard last spring. Noticed some wide grassy weeds coming up on my established rye overseed. Still have 75 highs and 45 lows. At those temperatures, no. That is definitely not goose grass. More than likely, if it's coming from your rye overseed, I'm going to throw something out there. I may not be correct. This is totally a blind-ass guess. I would personally think it's going to be orchard grass. I see a lot of orchard grass in rye, but that's not to say it very well might be. It very might well be a different grassy weed, but it is not goose grass. Goose grass isn't going to start germinating until you get temperatures up to 65 degrees, soil temperatures up to 65 degrees. Then you'll start seeing goose grass germination. Please send pics in the Discord. Please do that. There is not. I'm not drinking because I have to be up early. So I grabbed here on my desk. I grabbed 2 of these that were totally my plan to drink during this show. Oh boy, Ryan, this is kind of a tough one here. This is a touchy one. Any thoughts on watering in winter and how long to let it go without? It is a tough question, and the reason why is it depends on if it is completely frozen, right? So if you are not completely frozen, and then I would continue to supplement. Is weekly necessary? It depends on how much. Thank you, AccuBet. I appreciate it, man. I'm telling you, I've got so many irons in the fire right now. It's absolutely insane. I'm gonna continue to bust my ass in every which direction imaginable, and but thank you, and I promise you've not seen the end of me by any stretch of the imagination. Every day I wake up, I've got a whole host of things that I've got going on that I'm telling you I'm gonna knock this shit out of the park. I tell you what. Squirrel count. So it depends on if the ground is frozen or not. And the reason why I would say this is that if the ground has frozen, chances are the plant, for the most part, has completely shut down. Now, yes, and I would just leave it at that. Trying to apply a bunch of water to a ground that's already frozen could cause more problems with ice sheeting that takes place, and that ice sheeting actually taking out the grass. If it's supposed to be 60 Wednesday and it hasn't rained in a very long time, then yes, I would go ahead. So have you ever used one of those moisture meters in the soil? And as a general rule of thumb, as long as the ground is not frozen, I would make sure you still have sufficient soil moisture. And it doesn't have to be, like just absolutely perfect where you can't see a little bit of dust if you threw up a handful of it. I mean, that's not what I'm saying. But if it hasn't rained in a very long time and everything is kind of shutting down and it's cold but it's not frozen, then I personally would still water at least every other week. And I probably wouldn't throw down a whole inch because chances are the grass would never even use a whole inch of water over a 2-week period. So I would probably do something like a half inch, let it ride for a couple weeks, see if you get rain. If you don't, another half inch, then let it ride another half inch. And I would it's something like that until it completely freezes up. Look at this. We're talking about ice melt. That's right. I had a question about ice melt. I forgot about that. Let me see where that went. What chemical formula of ice melt would you recommend that has minimal impact on turf? Yeah, I would use, like, calcium chloride can actually be used as ice melt. That would be a good one. You can do some of the acetates too. I think potassium acetate in some instances is used as an ice melt. Obviously, that won't hurt the grass. I would stay away from the sodium-based stuff, but magnesium chloride, calcium chloride, potassium acetate, you'll be all right. You'll be all right. None of those will cause any problems. Brad, he might be, and that's okay. It would help if I had my irrigation to use, but I'll shut it down. Well, if you have, it may be shut down, but do you have an air compressor? Because if you don't, this may be a perfect excuse for you to go get an air compressor. Go ahead, fire it on, water, and then you practice winterizing your system yourself. I mean, it's not hard to do. Just make sure the valve is open before you start forcing air through it, so that way you don't rupture any lines or anything like that. I may or may not have done that before. Shane Brady, the hardest working man in lawn care in Nebraska. I've done 3 aerations and overseedings here in the last week, above average temps here. Wow, man. I know it got cool on you hard last year, didn't it? That's crazy. SuperTA, I know you keep asking this, and I have been intentionally avoiding all of your questions. Jason Trailer's in the house, my man. But you know what? I'm going to go ahead and answer it. I mean, why not? Matt, your thoughts about Anderson products versus Carbonate products. As an owner, I'm curious to hear your inputs. Why one over the other? There's nothing wrong with Anderson's products. Absolutely nothing wrong. But at the same time, there are no Anderson's products that had everything that the Carbonate line had in it. So they could do biochar, they could do humic acid, but they couldn't do humic acid, biochar, and a full fertilizer. They could, but they didn't. And so I built an entire product line by encompassing every aspect of that. My whole goal, whenever I put my name on a product, if I can, I want to target 3 things. One is something to directly, positively go after the root system in a positive way. Typically through a biostimulant. So I want to apply a biostimulant. Number 2, I want to apply something that will physically manipulate soil structure and tilth. And then number 3, I want to apply the correct MPK analyses to deliver some sort of response. Thank you, J Pink. So it's not, and I made this very clear from the beginning, SuperTA, is that I don't think the Carbonate products were better than any other products out there. All of them have advantages. All of them have disadvantages. But the one thing I can tell you is that I put more of my personal life on the line to bring Carbonate to the market than anybody at Anderson's has since their inception 80 years ago. I put my kids at risk. I put my wife at risk. I put my marriage at risk. I put my family at risk. I put my parents at risk. I put myself at risk. And I lost everything overnight. I lost everything. Cars. Oh, dude, Johnny Fescue, seriously, man, that's unnecessary, dude. This is not easy for me to talk about at all. Because I did. And you know what? That's why tomorrow I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna continue doing what I know how to do, and that's put my best effort forward. Like I said, when I said I've got a lot of Merry Christmas, Johnny Fescue. Seriously, I'm freaking out. You know, the fun part for me, the whole thing when it comes to designing products, and when you look at it, is are the little unknowns of making things work together that that you wouldn't be so aware end up working together. And it's because you include that it makes everything else kind of work in the plan. Like, for instance, there's a reason why we used ferrous sulfate monohydrate, ferrous sulfate heptahydrate, and ammonium sulfate in the Carbon X products, in the Carbon Earth products. And the reason why is because without that additional ammonium sulfate in there, the ferrous sulfate monohydrate, ferrous sulfate heptahydrate in it would not have the opportunity to make it into the plant. So there's little nuances like that when it comes to product development, that it's easy to just take random things out there and blend them together, but it takes a special set of carefulness and effort to look at it from the standpoint of which one is going to come together and make everything work more efficiently. So anyway, I don't take it. I didn't think you were being disrespectful. I don't want to talk about it right now. And part of it is for legal reasons. There's lots of lawsuits flying all over the place right now. And I'm not supposed to be talking about it. I'm doing it anyway right now because he asked 3 times. So I can talk about it eventually. Once all this passes, I can tell you everything you want to know. But for the time being, I'm going to have to keep my mouth shut, and I'll just leave it at that. Jason, I can't get into specifics, but if you Jason, I can't get into specifics, but if you jump in over on the members Discord, then you'll be able to see everything that's kind of going on. Well, I'm real screwed up, Johnny Fescue. Boy, you've got me all just rattled, son. Man. Where am I? Timmy Bluegrass, one more question on Subvert, and I promise I'm done. And this one could be touchy. Q Scamler. Why do some products cost so much more than others? Why is SAMP a third of the price of MFT? So real simple is sodium salicylate, and is nowhere near as expensive as the manufacturing process for extracting peptide material. Remember, MFT is a peptide product, and it is a very high concentration peptide product. It's not like there's just a little bit in there, just a little bit sprinkled in there. So for instance, if you're on the page and you look at the peptide products, right? All of those contain peptides, but these are the ones that have, this is where I kind of screwed up on organizing this. The ones with the highest concentrations are MFT, SLAM, Peak, D10, and D10 plus. Right? So then if you go to complete foliar fertilizers with peptides, these all have a very, seeing them peaks in here. I'm still working on this, okay? Still working on this. But they are GTMF, SYFE, Triple F, and Uptake contain just a very small amount, to go with a foliar application. So if you're applying a Triple F, right, and you want to get down, you want to run that at 24 ounces per 1,000, you can, and you're not going to hurt anything with the amount of peptide material in there. Versus if you took that same rate and applied D10 at 24 ounces per 1,000, the peptides are going to kill the grass. Same with MFT. You probably would end up killing the grass if you ran that at that rate. So the whole premise behind the peptides is and the way these are manufactured is that you take the majority of the time it's going to be soy crop residue, and then you isolate a very specific enzyme, the HA12 protease enzyme from a strain of bacillus, and you use those enzymes to digest, to mineralize and break down the the proteins into smaller chains. And those smaller chains of proteins, instead of taking them all the way down into amino acids, which are these small building blocks, you take them down not quite to their amino acid state, but a little bit larger chain where you're dealing with 3, 6, 9, 12 amino acids in a chain. And these chains are called peptides, right? So it's that manufacturing process and the amount of material required and the time it takes to digest soy proteins into peptides that equate to the cost. It's not something that can be done real easily. I'll tell you that right now. Lots of centrifuges, and it is not a one and done. It's about a week-long process. What's going on, Andy's? Enjoying a half-inch green lawn right now in Northern Illinois. We're still green here in Knoxville. I got to say that. Without a doubt, there's no problems here. It is green and gorgeous. Salicylic acid is attempting to kill these plantar warts on my foot. I will apply and go walk the grass and have a twofold effect. There you go. Where am I? Thank you, A-Dog. What are you doing, Aaron? Quit it. I will continue to I will. I'll be careful what I say. Sometimes I care, other times I don't. I just think he's gonna let it fly out there. Jason Trailer, I don't know. We need to work on a Squirrel shirt, don't we? That would be a Squirrel count. That would be a good one. I may definitely do that. Can I mix Sledgehammer with Speed Zone Southern? Yes, you can. There's no problems in mixing those two those together. My only question, Ross, would be, why are you spraying Sledgehammer right now? Or are you talking about for next season? Because if you're saying next season when Sedge is up, is there any tank mix compatibility issues there? No, by all means, you can have at it. They mix great. They spray well together. But if you think you're seeing any sedges right now, I don't know where you are. But if you're outside of Florida or southern Louisiana or South Texas, I doubt, or southern California, I doubt you're seeing any sedges right now. So I'd be curious where you are. Matt, I've got a weed breakthrough late July, August in Texas, Bermuda. All I've ever done is prodiamine and dimension. Is gallery the cure to my problem? It could be, maybe, or the cure to your problem may be applying a post-emergent weed control. So, you can continue to try and apply pre-emergence to work your way around it, but really at the end of the day, sometimes the pre-emergents are just going to fail because of reasons outside of your control. And because of that, and so because of that, this is where you've got to find that balance between pre-emergent weed controls and post-emergent weed controls. So probably what I would do is I would go ahead, identify those, understand that in July and August, it's going to be very difficult for pre-emergent to be rocking and rolling through that time frame in Texas when you're using a product like prodiamine, which photo degrades, or Dimension, which has a much shorter half-life than prodiamine does, and expect to go after it post-emergently with an actual weed control instead of a pre-emergent. So with Cenos, only a small amount of peptides, you would recommend pairing it with MFT? No, actually I wouldn't, because MFT is I would pair that with something like D10 or D10 plus, because calcium and other micronutrients do not play well together. So D10, D10 plus, and calcium nitrate would be a better fit. You start mixing micronutrients with calcium, and boy, you got to be real careful. You gotta be real careful. Now, if you have calcium EDTA, that's a whole other thing. But if you don't have calcium EDTA, even calcium glucoheptanate, you can get a little squirrely if you're not doing it right. Look, my wife is gonna work on the squirrel shirt. Damn it, baby! Didn't I tell you before? You gonna make me damn squirrely shirt? I'm just kidding. That was terrible. I shouldn't have said that. 2 feet of rain in 24 hours. I think that screws up the Preemergent. There's no doubt about it. That definitely will. Speed zone and image. Is that good for POA, or mix some Celsius in that too, or just bite the bullet and get Katana? Okay, so Telly, personally, I would just bite the bullet and get Katana or Monument. I see John Teague recommended Monument down there as well. I would go ahead and splurge for one of those, because Speed Zone, no, it's just going to cause discoloration. Image, it might cause a little bit extra discoloration. Celsius, if it's on a warm enough day, you'll get some discoloration, but all three of those together might. So if you've got it on the shelf and you want to give it a try, maybe. There's no real guarantee, but possibly. That's kind of just where it lies. It's a maybe. It might work sometimes. It might work half the time. It may work 3/4 of the time. I don't know. It's hard to say. But it's always been kind of hit and miss. I'll put it that way. I've sprayed a lot of image on POA over the years, and I felt like it used to work back in the late 2000s, but not since after 2010, probably. But yeah, my latter years in Memphis, it wasn't working like it used to. If he says Miracle Whip, you both, he loves bologna. What are you talking about, Ross Reed? Mayo or Miracle Whip? Neither. I'm not a fan of any white sauces. I don't like mustard either. But I do love bologna. There's no doubt about it. And I think in the South, you're supposed to say Miracle Whip is the one you're supposed to go after. But I don't know. Hell, I don't know. I know my wife is the big fan of the QP, the Japanese mayonnaise, and she says it's not even close to compare to what we have in the States. I don't know. I don't eat mayonnaise. It's something I don't like. I just don't do it. It ain't my thing. Mayo versus Miracle Whip. What are y'all doing? Had a bad case of spring dead spot this year. I applied the preventative rate of propiconazole October 1st and November 15th. Anything else to do this winter? Just spray. Or just spray lawn guys, Bermuda and Charlotte. Yeah, unfortunately, that's really all you can do, Greg. And here's kind of the thing with spring dead spot is you can have it one year really, really bad. You can have it the next year and not even see it. Like, you'll have no idea. You're like, what happened? It came perfectly out of dormancy. No spring dead spot at all. And then the next year, it'll come back with a total vengeance. And then the next 2 years, you'll barely even see it. And then after about 5 years, it just randomly goes away. It's the oddest thing in the entire world. So hitting your target timings there, I think we're actually pretty good as far as the timing of your applications. I think that's going to be as good as you can get. And just roll with it, man, and see what ends up happening. There's not going to be an easy answer for that. And there's lots of experimental things that you can do, and you can read about it for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks into different options and different test methods. There's some newer fungicides now that are supposed to show some bigger my goodness, I don't know what I'm trying to say. Steve Willie, you are funny, sir. I got distracted there. There are some new fungicides that have shown some good efficacy, but do you want to spend $1,000 an acre per application, or do you want to just try it with your propiconazole? I get it. I probably wouldn't be showing up big bucks for it either, especially spring dead spot when you can grow it in. Look at this. Miracle Whip belongs in the garbage can. Miracle Whip is salad dressing. I love this. Neyland Stadium has the best looking football field on TV. True Green must have the contract. You are funny, Steve Willie. I want to run Dimension at the end of spring to clean up some of the new sales. What soil temp should I make the switch from prodiamine? Oh, golly. So I see what you're saying there in that scenario. I would still do it right at or just before. It depends on how long you plan on, how long it's going to take you to finish these apps, right? So if it's going to take you 4 apps to get it done, then I would say 4 apps prior to 55 degrees or prior to 60 degrees soil temperatures. 4 weeks somewhere before that. Then start making those applications. But yeah, so however long it's going to take you, I would want to finish with those Dimension applications somewhere around when you're at 55 or 60 degrees Fahrenheit soil temperatures. Is Pennant Magnum herbicide really worth the cost for nutgrass control? In my opinion, Alexander Thomas, nope, not unless I was in a very specific circumstance where I could not afford to deal with nutgrass in a property at all. Then I would be real interested in going ahead and spending the money on Pennant Magnum. But if it's my own home yard, not a chance in hell would I ever spend the money on Pennant Magnum. Not a friggin' chance. No way. Kabuto is new fungicide specifically for spring dead spot, but you put it down before dormancy. That is the one, Telly Coleman. I have not seen a price on that either. Kabuto fungicide. So I mean, the one I'm seeing here does not look that expensive. $160, $130 for 22 ounces. What is the rate per acre here? Let's look at this label. Directions for use. Yes, rate 17 to 22. So $120 an ounce, basically. I mean, $120 an acre, $140 an acre, $160 an acre. That's pretty expensive. That's real expensive, and I would not spend the money on that. I would definitely be using propiconazole. I want Hellman's. Look at this. Look at all this damn mayonnaise talk. This is crazy. Hellman's all the way. Huh. This is terrible. This is terrible. Jason, bear with me. After the stream, I can post it up again and refresh it up there to the top. Because you'd have to sort the post by members only, and then you would be able to find it. Something like that. Something like that. He's got the stuff. Let's see. This coming way here. Actually, let me go ahead and do a little bit of housekeeping. For the time being, I'm going to be working with the people over at Subvert MPK. So if you'd love to show some support to those guys, I will tell you there's going to be a sale coming up soon. So before you do anything, just understand there's going to be a sale coming up soon. Select products, but kind of some new stuff that's going to be going on there. Some phosphites are going to be in the house. Glucoheptanate, chelated micronutrients for people with high pH soils. Of course, the salicylic acid products, calcium nitrate products, very clean fulvic acid products derived from peat. Kind of an interesting thing there. Let's see, what else? A little fulvic acid and peptide combination product. I actually ran this one in. I've been running that one in the lab for the last few weeks, alongside the. Oh, the the other thing I was getting from the other guy that I can't exactly give away what exactly it is until we make sure we have a clearer understanding of everything that's going to do. My wife has continued to work her absolute ass off on the fan factor. And I got to say, it's actually a little bit interesting because I don't have to do anything except just be cognizant of when and why there's a camera in front of me. So it actually ends up kind of nice because I don't have to edit the videos or anything. So if you want to show some support there, go give a like to the video and all that fun stuff. If you want to see what we did during Thanksgiving, which was we did some real redneck Thanksgiving stuff, you can go check out those videos. Give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment. Tell my wife she's lost her damn mind doing all this stuff. Can I apply Turfline Esther before summer to suppress Bermuda, maybe like in April or May? Yes. How long is it going to work? Maybe 20 days. Maybe 20 days it will continue to work. It's not going to be like this magic knock it in the dirt for the rest of the season. It's just gonna give you a couple weeks, 2-3 weeks, something like that. So, but yes, you definitely can. Now, here's the other thing too: is that if you're running Turfline Esther, Polo, I would check where you're getting your products because for the same cost per 1,000, you can run Pylex too, which is going to last a lot longer. Just saying. So you can start with your Turfline and then come in behind it with your Pylex, and that would be a good one. You might be able to get like 30, 40 days out of your Pylex application. So this coming week, I'm going to be out. I will be on the road again. No, David, there's not, and I'm working my ass off on it. I am working my ass off on it, and it is proving to be way more difficult than I anticipated. Actually, it's not that much more difficult. It's just time consuming. Because when you're trying to, it's just difficult. Effectiveness of dry versus liquid fur. Any good internet references? Yeah. As far as internet references, no. But you can, I would say, granular and liquid fertilizer efficacy trials, something like that. The Green and Gold Life, and you should start to unpack some sources there, some studies of things that have been done, and really what it's going to come down to is frequency of application, right? So what you'll notice is that there's not really going to be a whole lot of just huge difference between the two, but you can kind of manage some things like growth rate and stuff better with liquid fertilizer as long as you increase the frequency of the applications. Because if you don't, and you just apply liquid fertilizer at the same rate that you would apply a granular fertilizer, then it's just going to work the same. In fact, it's just going to be way riskier because of the salt index of the fertilizer being applied to the leaves. It's going to burn the shit out of leaves. So it's not going to help you out there. But if you're breaking that down into 2-week intervals, into 7-day intervals, and making your applications on that window, then you can control a lot of the surge growth and get to capitalize on all the positives that do come with it. Night, my son. I love you, buddy. Night, my daughter. I love you.
And night, everybody in the world. God bless you.
All right, y'all go to sleep. I love y'all.
Bye-bye.
So it's just not going to be a tremendous difference. It just comes down to your application method and your application, how you want to apply products, right? For me, in residential lawn care, I knew I only had 7 applications to get everything I need done. Well, if you take 7 applications and divide it by 365 days or 12 months or whatever, then every roughly 6 weeks I've got to be on that property. And if I'm only on it every 6 weeks, asking a liquid to do something for 6 weeks is not fair to the product. It's just not. I don't care how much slow release you're spraying. It's just not fair. So I think there's a balance between the two, just fully assuming on what your method of management for your particular lawn or lawns that you maintain, however you desire to maintain those. What is your preference for leveling, sand, or some kind of loam and peat mix? Totally just sand. I would not mix anything with it. What are you doing, Discord? With source materials tricky, Hattie B's waste stream versus Gus's waste stream currently in testing. No, definitely not those. This is, of course, it's another just a giant chasing down the renewable energy industry right now. And you're right, the source material is tricky. This particular instance is coming from it's all food waste. And some of it has to do with like animal feed production, and then the other part of it is like bourbon production, and so working with that, yet there is a little bit of this that goes along with it, right? So it's the piece of bringing it in, concentrating the material, and then having the variability in your concentrating in your concentration step to account for the variability of the incoming material. And so how do you quickly determine what that is so that way in real time you can then process that material into a concentrated form and eliminate that variability that you end up getting? It gets weird. But we have a great biosystems engineer who's all over it right now. It's all over it. Callahan Tunnel says, I have a lot of POA Triv in my Pacific Northwest lawn. How does an app of Roundup and then burn out the spots with a weed torch sound to you? It sounds good, but you have to remember POA Triv is going to be incredibly powerful at spreading from its root system. Hey, dog, I'll talk to you about that privately, big man. That if you leave behind any of the root system intact, that POA trivialis is going to come back. It's going to come back. So, in my opinion, yes, you can do it. I just wouldn't expect 100% control. That's all. Jason Trailer says, so I found something that I hate. I bought some fern on sale and didn't really pay attention to the size of the bag, just the app rate. When they came in, they are tiny bags. How the heck do I spread that stuff? I don't know. I don't know. Trailer sent me a message, and I wanna take a look at it and see what exactly it is, and try and figure out what to do with it. I don't mean to laugh. I don't know why that's so funny to me, but that is legitimately funny to me. Since I'm gonna be gone later this week again, I'm going to actually try and do a Pick the Doc's Brain segment tomorrow. I can't make any promises because, as we all know, right now in this with Christmas coming up and all this stuff, I'm having to do any and everything I possibly can to keep the house. So there is a chance I may be able to do the show tomorrow. There is a chance I may not be able to do the show tomorrow. So I don't know. We'll see. Soil temp is at 35 degrees. Tricompare Esther still valid or wait until spring? Yeah, still valid. I would. Me personally, I feel comfortable in that risk and going ahead and making that application. So I'm not going to come out and just promise and say, yeah, without a doubt, we're going to get it done. But I can say we're definitely probably going to give it just a good old college try if we have to. In the meantime, I want to thank everybody for tuning in today. 1 p.m. Pacific time. I don't know. I really don't know what time it would be. If it did do it, it would probably be at the 4 p.m. Eastern time. Is Roundup and burning the spot of Poetriv the best control that I can get? Is there anything else I can do? No, glyphosate is probably going to be as good as you can do. But if you really want to go full nuclear on it, Callahan Tunnel is you could do some weird things and spray an herbicide that is designed to kill Poetriv, but the thing is that you're not going to be able to seed it for a long time. With your tiny packs. You're not going to be able to seed it for a long time. So you can go get some Revolver, you can go get some Monument, and go spray that Poetriv, and you will legitimately kill it, and you will kill it very well. But you're not going to be able to seed for 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, something like that after the fact. All right, everybody. I want to thank everybody for tuning in today. I hope you had a good time. And we'll be back. We'll be back soon. Aldo, what is this? We're getting some weird. Poa Constrictor does not work on Poa Trivialis.